गुड इवनिंग सभी को, नमस्कार। स्वागत है आपका हमारे इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर जिसका नाम है वन मार्क सोल्यूशन। और जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं कि लगातार हमारे साथ इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट्स के डिफरेंट एक्सपर्ट्स जुड़ते आते हैं, और जो कि डिफरेंट जो हमारे सब्जेक्ट्स हैं उनके जो वन मार्क्स के जो क्वेश्चन है, फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स, असर्शन, रीजन और वन मार्क्स के जो ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस है वो यहाँ पे डिस्कस होते हैं थ्रू पीपीटी। तो आज का हमारा सेशन है वो क्लास 9th के लिए है, साइंस का, द फंडामेंटल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ। और आज हमारे साथ बहुत सारे न्यू व्यूअर्स भी जुड़े हैं, जो बच्चे जुड़े हैं उनको मैं रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि आप ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसको शेयर कर दीजिए, इस लिंक को, जिससे कि और भी बच्चे इसका फ़ायदा उठा सके। और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, जिससे कि आपको जो भी अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स रहेंगे उनके अपडेट्स आपको मिलते रहेंगे। तो मैं अभी जो आज हमारे साथ सेशन को जो रिसोर्स पर्सन आज हमारे साथ हैं इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे, जो मैं उनका स्वागत करती हूँ। वेलकम मैम, मोस्ट वेलकम मैम, मरियम मैम। मरियम मैम,
थैंक यू।
मरियम मैम का मैं थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दे देती हूँ। मरियम मैम केंद्रीय विद्यालय मानपुर, महाराष्ट्र, मुंबई में एज ए टीजीटी साइंस पोस्टेड है। और मैम ने केवी केंद्रीय विद्यालय 2017 में ज्वाइन किया है। और मैम ने अपना जो भी ग्रेजुएशन है, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन सब लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी से किया हुआ है। मैम को एक्सपीरियंस काफ़ी अच्छा है। आप थ्रू आउट इस वेबिनार को एंजॉय करिए, लास्ट तक एंजॉय करिए। लास्ट में, सेशन के एंड में, जो आपका लाइव कमेंट बॉक्स है वहाँ पे मैं एक लिंक शेयर करूँगी, एक फीडबैक फॉर्म शेयर करूँगी, जिसको कि अगर आप फिल करेंगे और आप अगर उसमें 10 मार्क्स का रहेगा, अगर 40% उसमें मार्क्स क्वालिफाई करते हैं, देन आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट भी होगा आपके मेल आईडी पे। तो मेल आईडी करेक्ट डालिएगा। और मैं ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेते हुए मरियम मैम को हैंड ओवर करती हूँ। और लास्ट तक बने रहिए इस वेबिनार में। और ये ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर कर दीजिए अपने फ्रेंड्स को, जो भी आपके फ्रेंड्स हैं उनको भी शेयर कर दीजिए इस लिंक को। वेलकम मैम।
गुड इवनिंग स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम बायोलॉजी का क्लास 9 का चैप्टर द फंडामेंटल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ करेंगे। दिस इज अ वेरी बेसिक topic of science. If you are going to study biology in future, this is the most basic thing which you should have a very clear concept of. So let's start. Mostly we'll be focusing on the 1 mark questions, because now you must have seen also the CBSE is uh, emphasizing more on 1 mark question if your concepts are clear or not. Long answers अब कम किए जा रहे हैं और 1 mark के answers ज़्यादा पूछे जा रहे हैं. So weightage is more on 1 mark question. So let's discuss. So the types of questions which are asked in 1 marks, you will have multiple choice questions, very short answers like one word or one line, very short like one line answers as well. And there is one very new interesting thing, that is assertion and reasoning. Assertion and reasoning इससे पहले आपके क्लासेस लोअर क्लासेस में नहीं रहता है, बट ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट और बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग 1 मार्क के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, जिनमें आपको एक असर्शन, एक स्टेटमेंट दिया जाता है और उसके लिए एक रीजनिंग दी जाती है. You have to tell whether the reasoning is correct for this assertion, or the assertion statement is in itself is correct or not. So it is an interesting way to check the concepts of student. Then fill in the blanks in true false you have been doing in previous classes as well, so that you are familiar with. But multiple choice question and assertion and reasoning, these are the two main basic questions which are very much asked in 1 mark questions. So let's start with multiple choice questions.
मरियम मैम, सॉरी फॉर मरियम मैम, ये आप हाइड कर दीजिए, जो एक स्ट्रिप नीचे आ रही है उसको हाइड कर दीजिए.
Right. Okay. So now you see the first question says choose the correct statement. So we'll start with the history of this topic. A. Robert Hooke in 1665 discovered and named the cells. B. In 1967, Anton von Leeuwenhoek built an improved microscope and observed many single-cell organisms. In 1831, a Scottish botanist, Robert Brown, discovered and named the nucleus in the plant cell. Or D. All the above statements. And as you all know, all these statements are correct. So you will mark the D option as correct one. All these above statements are true. Robert Hooke first discovered the cells in Koch cells, and he gave this name as well, the cells. Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he built a simple microscope, and he was the first scientist to observe living organism. What Robert Hooke saw was dead cells. Anton von Leeuwenhoek has seen the live cells. Then, after almost a century later, Robert Brown discovered the nucleus, which took a dark stain in the cell. So all these statements are correct. So you will mark D option. All the statements are true. Next question. Choose the incorrect statement. In the previous question, it was to choose the correct statement. Here you will have to choose the incorrect statement. So let's start with the statement. The prokaryotic cell usually ranges between 1 to 10 micrometer. So this statement, I hope all of you know that this is correct. Then second, the largest size of an elephant is due to the largest cell present in its body. So now this statement, if you all have studied it properly in this chapter, you must know that this is a wrong concept. The size of the cell doesn't depend on the size of the animal. It depends on the function the cell is going to perform in the body. So the shape and size of the cell depends on the function it is going to perform in the body and not on the size of the animal. So B statement is wrong. Let's see C and D as well. Amoeba proteus is the biggest among the unicellular organisms. So we have many species of amoeba, and you have many unicellular organism as well. So in this, amoeba proteus is one of the biggest unicellular organism, which you see this statement is correct as well. Then you have B option. The smallest cells are those of mycoplasma, an organism which is an intermediate between virus and bacteria. This statement is correct as well. So you choose the B one. B statement is the incorrect one. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Which among the following is the largest known living cell? So living cell, we are talking about living cell, and an ostrich egg, a duck egg, an elephant egg, and the human egg. So as we already have discussed that it doesn't depend on the size of the animal. So here we all know that the largest living cell is an ostrich egg. Okay, among all the organisms which we know, the egg of an ostrich is considered to be the largest one, and it is the largest known living cell. Then next question is, chromosomes are thread-like structure usually present in the nucleus. So what are they made up of? So you have been given option DNA, protein, DNA and protein, or RNA. So as we all know, in eukaryotic cell, the chromosomes are made up of DNA and protein. DNA is present on chromosome, but structurally we have protein as well, which gives it structural stability. So the C option over here is the correct answer. DNA and protein are present in the chromosomes. Next question we have is, which among the following is the correct about cytoplasm? So let's start with the statement. The first statement is, the part of the cell which occurs between the plasma membrane and nuclear envelope is the cytoplasm. This is correct. Then we have the inner granular mass of the cytoplasm is often called as endoplasm. This is also correct. Cytoplasm act as a store of vital chemicals such as amino acid, glucose, vitamins, etc., and ions, etc. in the cell. This is also correct. And we have the next choices, all the above. So all these statements are correct. So the option D is the correct answer. Next we have, plasmolysis in plant cell is defined as. Let's see all the definition. First one is the breakdown of plasma membrane in hypotonic medium. Then we have shrinkage of cytoplasm in the hypotonic medium. Then shrinkage of mucoplasm, and last one is none of them. So if you all know what is hypotonic and hypertonic medium, In hypotonic medium, the concentration of water outside is more, and in the hypertonic medium, the concentration of water outside is less. So in the case when the cell is placed in a hypertonic medium, the shrinkage of cytoplasm take place because the water moves from inside of the cell to the outside of the cell, and therefore the shrinkage of cytoplasm takes place. So the plasmolysis is defined as a shrinkage of cytoplasm in the hypertonic medium. The correct option here is B. Next, pick out the option among the following which does not relate to the process of osmosis. So we have four options over here, and again we'll read the statements. The movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane is affected by the amount of substance dissolved in it. So here we are actually, what we have to do is we have to check out all these statements and which of the following statement does not relate to the process of osmosis. So all these are the conditions for osmosis. So let's see, the movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane is affected by the amount of substance dissolved in it. This is correct. Then membranes are made up of organic molecules such as protein and lipid. This is also correct. Then molecules soluble in organic solvent can pass through the membrane. This is also correct. Then we have plasma membranes contain cheating sugar in the plants. This is incorrect statement. So all the A, B, C statement relate to the process of osmosis, whereas the D statement, it is not correct statement as well. So we have to pick out the odd one out over here, and this is D. Next question is, cell wall of which one of this is not made up of cellulose? So in the case of plant, the cell wall is made up of cellulose, whereas cell wall is also seen in the case of bacteria. So the only difference between the cell wall of plant cell and bacterial cell is that in the case of plant, the cell wall is made up of cellulose, whereas in the case of bacteria, it is made up of peptidoglycose. So here, hydrilla, mango tree, and cactus, these are all plants, and their cell wall will be made up of cellulose. So here we have to choose the A option, that is bacteria. Bacterial cell wall is not made up of cellulose. Which of the following statement is not related to the endoplasmic reticulum? So let's read out the statements. The first statement says it behaves as a transport channel for proteins between nucleus and cytoplasm. This is a correct statement. It transports material between various regions in the cytoplasm. This as well is a correct statement. It can be the site of energy generation. This is questionable. Let's see the last option as well. It can be the site of some biochemical activities of the cell. So we know A, B, and D are the correct statement. The site of energy generation in cell is not endoplasmic reticulum, and I hope you all know which it is, because in the next coming questions we'll have this question as well, which is the site of energy generation. So we'll choose the C option. We have energy generation is not related to endoplasmic reticulum, whereas A, B, and C are the functions of endoplasmic reticulum in the cell. Moving on to the next question. The primary function of which among the following plastid is the storage of starch and oil? So we have different types of plastids in plant cells. I hope all of you know what are plastids. Plastids are the cell organelles which are present in the plants, and they are responsible for the different types of colors and storage in the plant cells. So here the question is, which of these following plastids acts as a storage for starch and oil? So let's see the option. Chloroplasts, we know that chloroplasts contain the green pigment, which chlorophyll, which helps in the photosynthesis. Chromoplast gives various other colors, red, orange and yellow colors which we see in the plants. Leucoplast. Now, leucoplasts are the colorless organelles of the plants which do not have any color, but these are the plastic which store starch and oil and some proteins as well in the plant cell. Okay, and ethioplast, you may not have heard of ethioplast. Ethioplasts are the precursor to the chloroplast and chromoplast. When the cell organelles, plastids are going to be formed, so first precursor is ethioplast, and then ethioplast can differentiate into either chloroplast or chromoplast. So the correct option over here is the plastid which stores starch and oil is leucoplast. Next coming up is uh, unripe green fruits become colored when ripe. What can be the reason behind this color change? So all of you, now you must be knowing because I've discussed the chloroplast, the functions of all these plastids. So let's see how many of you can get it correct. Um, A says that chloroplast changes to chromoplast. B says that chromoplast changes to chromosome. Then C says chloroplast changes to chromosome. And last it says chromoplast changes to chloroplast. So unripe green fruits become colored. Green fruits become colored. So what do you think it should be? It should be chloroplasts which are green changing to chromoplasts which give various other colors. So A option over here is the correct one. Okay, next, mitochondria in the cell are the site of energy synthesis. Now, here, as we have discussed previously, this energy synthesis is not the function of endoplasmic reticulum, but now you know mitochondria is the site of energy synthesis. So, energy is also stored here. And what is mitochondria also called? What can you call mitochondria as? Yeah, in your general sense, from where do we get our energy? Like in the form of electricity, we get it from. So hint is over there. A says energy currency of the cell, B says energy generator of the cell, C says kitchen of the cell, and D says powerhouse of the cell. So if you all know we get electricity in our house, and the place where it is stored and sent to our home is the powerhouse. So this answer is powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria are also called as the powerhouse of the cell because the energy is stored over here. Next, which cell organelle plays a crucial role in the detoxifying many poisonous substances in the liver cell of vertebrates? So this is a special case. In the case of vertebrates, the liver cells have also the role of detoxifying all the poisonous substances which an organism is taking, and also the drugs which it may be taking. So all these places are detoxified because of one of these organelles. And let's see how many of you can guess it. A is Golgi apparatus, B is lysosome, C smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and D is vacuole. So apart from the production of lipids, smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a crucial role in detoxification of poisonous material, and this is very clearly mentioned in the NCERT book of class 9. So I hope all of you have got it correct. Next question. Which among the following is not the function of the vacuole? So let's see the statements. A, they help to store the toxic metabolic byproducts of the plant cell. B, they provide turgidity and rigidity to the plant cell. C, they help to maintain the osmotic pressure in the cell. And D says that they help in the plant in the growth by the process of cell division. So as you all know that A, B, and C are the correct statements. I hope all of you know that the role of the vacuole is to store the waste products of the plant. It also, because it is filled with cell sap, it provides turgidity and rigidity to the plant. It also builds up osmotic pressure in the plant so that the plants, the plant cell do not burst. So all these A, B, C are the roles of vacuole in the plant cell, whereas D is not a correct statement. They do not help the plant by process of cell division. So the correct option over here should be D. D is not the function of vacuole. Next, a weak solution of silver nitrate is used in tracing the most delicate ramification of cell. This method of staining is referred to as. So this was very interesting because a scientist, and there will be coming up question about that scientist as well. So this scientist, he developed this very revolutionary way of staining the cells, in which you can stain a particular cell organelle and trace all its role. So this was very important for studying the nervous system in animals as well. So this stain silver nitrate, very weak solution of silver nitrate was used, and because it gave a black color to the organelle which he was trying to study. So the stain came out to be black in color, and therefore this reaction is black reaction. Do not write it as silver, because by the name silver nitrate, some students think that it should be silver reaction, but no, it is black reaction due to the stain which the cell gets over here is black. So the reaction is called as black reaction. And the scientist was Camillo Golgi. He later discovered Golgi bodies also in the cell. Okay, so we came to the end of multiple choice questions. Children, I would also like to tell you that all these questions can be interrelatable, like MCQs can be asked to you in one word questions, and one word questions which which we will be discussing now, or short answers which can be asked to you in the multiple choice questions. So these questions can be interchanged. So if you study the statement correct properly, you will be able to do it in any of the forms. Okay, whether they are asked in MCQ, whether they are asked in fill in the blanks. So let's start with one word or very short answers. Okay, so the first question is, name the scientist who is known for the discovery of Golgi complex in the cell. And right now, just in the last slide, I have told you this answer. Let's see how many of you remember it. Name the scientist who is known for the discovery of Golgi complex in the cell. The name is Camillo Golgi. He was an Italian scientist, and he also discovered the process of staining, which later came to be known as black reaction. So this is this is given in a proper box in your NCERT book. So remember it. Then we have, name any two unicellular organism. I hope all of you will be knowing this answer. Amoeba and paramecium are the two unicellular organisms which we study quite in detail. You may also write answer like euglena or bacteria. All these are unicellular organisms. Any other options as well may be valid over here. Next question is, name the scientist who proposed the cell theory. There are two scientists who proposed the cell theory. Let's see how many of you get it. Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann. These are the two scientists who originally proposed the first two postulates of the cell theory, which says that the cell is the fundamental unit of life and as well as the structural unit of life. We'll also come to the third one. There was later on a third statement was also added to the cell theory, which we will be discussing in the later slides. Now this is the one. Name the scientist who stated that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. This is the third postulate of the cell theory, which says that cell comes from pre-existing cells. Okay, no, there is no spontaneous generation, because in those times, in very early when the science was just beginning, people also thought that the cell can be spontaneously generated, which is wrong. Cell cannot generate spontaneously. So this theory, this postulate was given by Rudolf Virchow, who says that all the cell comes from pre-existing cell. And this process also has been newly introduced in the CBSE NCERT syllabus. And later, this chapter was only about the cell and cell organelles, but now you also have cell division newly introduced in the CBSE code. So we'll have a few questions. It is very basic introduction is given of cell division, two types of cell division, and what are their important significance for the cell. So we'll have some questions for that as well. Next, we come to the next question is, name the cell organelle that manufactures protein and is seen in all the active cells, including the prokaryotic cell. So why I included this last line is because in prokaryotic cells, generally the cell organelles cannot be seen, especially the membrane-bound cell organelles are totally absent in the prokaryotic cell, like bacteria. So this cell organelle can be seen in all the active cells, all the cells which are active, that is, they are living and they are able to divide themselves and doing the life activities. This structure will be present because proteins are very essential for the life activities, and this organelle helps in the manufacture of protein. Okay, this is ribosomes. So some of the time children get confused and they write it is an endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum is of two types, rough and smooth. And ribosome, in the case of rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome is attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. So actually the site of protein manufacture is ribosomes, not the endoplasmic. Endoplasmic reticulum just provide a pathway, or it can be the site, but actually the cell organelle which is involved in the manufacturing of protein is ribosomes. Next question is, name the two types of nucleic acids which are found in the cell. The two types of nucleic acid which you can see in the nucleus of the cell is deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. The short form for both are given over here. You may be asked to expand it. So sometimes the question may be like expand DNA. Short form will be given to you, DNA, and you have to expand it. So the expanded form is deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA is ribonucleic acid. There is a little difference between the two, but that little difference makes a very big difference in the function of both of them. Sugar in both the cases is different, and which result in the structural difference of both the type of acid as well. So here we have the answer is deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid are the two types of nucleic acid. The next question is, plasma membrane is made up of which two components? So I hope all of you know it. This is lipid, phospholipids and proteins are the two components which make up the plasma membrane of a cell. The next question is, name the process by which, I think, of which it is. There is a little correction over here. Name the process by which allows the movement of carbon dioxide or oxygen across the cell membrane. So which process allows? This is just by simple diffusion. Okay, the carbon dioxide, the gases can move across the cell membrane by simple diffusion. Okay, and diffusion means the molecules will move from their higher concentration towards their lower concentration. So gases can easily cross the cell membrane by simple diffusion, whereas you will have a special type of process. The next slide, I think, will be on this. No. So you will have a special process as well where there will be requirement as well. So we'll see this special type of diffusion in later slide. Here the question is, the flexible nature of the cell membrane enables the cell to engulf food another material from its external environment. What is the name of this process? So as we know that plasma membrane is flexible in nature. So plasma membrane or cell membrane, these two are synonym for each other. So here we say the flexible nature of plasma membrane allows some organism, some unicellular organism to engulf food. This process is also seen in the WBCs of vertebrates as well. So this process is known as endocytosis, where the flexible plasma membrane can engulf any foreign material from the outside. Because of its flexible nature, it can move and engulf a particle from outside into the cell. This process is known as endocytosis. Next, name the two structures which are found in plant cell but not in animal cell. So all of you know plant cell have an extra cell wall, an extra boundary outside its cell for protection. This is known as cell wall, and the other plant cells also have plastids which are absent in animal cell. Plastids are present in plant cell and they give different colors to the plant. They contain pigments which give colors to the plant cell. So these are the two structures which can be seen only in the plant cell and not in the animal cell. Okay, so we have next question. Name the type of plastid that helps in the process of photosynthesis in the plant. So I hope all of you remember what are the essential condition for photosynthesis. Essential condition for photosynthesis should be sunlight, and there should be a pigment which should be able to capture this sunlight. So you all know plants are green in color. Because of this reason only, green plants can only perform photosynthesis. And this green pigment is called as chlorophyll, which is contained in the chloroplast. So chloroplasts are the plastids or cell organelle which contain chlorophyll pigment, and this chlorophyll pigment is the pigment which is able to capture the sunlight. And this sunlight which is captured, solar energy which is captured, will help in the process of photosynthesis. It will provide the energy for the whole process of making food in the plant, which is known as photosynthesis. We will study it in detail in the next class. Okay, we have next question here is some lipids and proteins help in building the cell membrane. The process is called as membrane biogenesis. Okay, so this cell membrane which is formed it is formed with the help of lipids and proteins. We have discussed that, and this process is called as membrane biogenesis. Okay, what is the site for this process? Where does membrane biogenesis, that is the formation of membrane, takes place? Where are these lipids and proteins which form the membrane formed? And now here it is very interesting. Endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum as well as a smooth endoplasmic reticulum have a particular role. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum will produce the lipids, and the rough endoplasmic reticulum, because of the presence of ribosome attached to it, it will help in the production of protein. And some of this, or not all, but some of these lipids and some of these proteins will form the membrane, the cell membrane as well. So this is the site for membrane biogenesis. The next question is, new cells are formed from the old cell by the process of cell division. So this is where your third postulate I was talking about, that this new topic has been introduced in this chapter, cell division, and there are two types of cell division. Okay, all the new cells, they come from the division of old cell, and this cell division can be of two types. So one is mitosis, the other one is meiosis, and both have their significance in the body, in an organism. Both have their particular significance in an organism. Mitosis has its own importance, and meiosis will have its own importance, which we will see in the in further slides. What are their functions, special significance, and what are their roles in the organisms. Name the cell division that is responsible for repair and regeneration of damaged tissue. So let's here only we have the next importance, that the cell division out of mitosis and meiosis both have different roles. So mitosis is the division which is responsible for the repair and regeneration of damaged tissues. Okay, whenever mitosis will produce same type of cell. So wherever we need the repair and regeneration of if any tissue needs has got damaged, so we have to generate new cells over there, and this will be generated by the mitosis, because the number.
Okay, ma'am, you can continue.
Okay, there was a little problem with the network. Let's begin again. ये मैम यहाँ तक हुआ था कि इससे पहली वाली स्लाइड पे.
Okay, ma'am, you start from here.
Okay, so we'll start from here. In the previous slide, we have discussed the two types of cell division, which were the what are the two types of cell division which are seen in cells, and the two types of cell division were mitosis and meiosis. So here we are in this question, it is being asked the cell division which is responsible for repair and regeneration. So, to make it clear to you, mitosis happens in all the vegetative cells of an organism. All the vegetative cells means apart from the sex cells, reproductive cells, the rest of the body will perform mitosis for repair and regeneration. Only in the case of reproductive cells, that is your gametes, which are also known as gametes, ovum and sperm, they are formed by meiosis. And there is a significance to this process as well. Mitosis results in the formation of daughter cells which have equal number of chromosome as that of mother cell. So same number of chromosome, because we have to maintain the same number of chromosome in all the cells of an organism. So mitosis will take place for the repair and regeneration of the cells. But in the case of reproductive cell, I will tell you, we'll have later slides which will discuss why in the case of meiosis, why in the case of gametes meiosis will take place. So here the answer will be mitosis, because it results in the two new daughter cells which will have same number of chromosomes as that of the mother cell. So all your vegetative cells, all the vegetative cells of an organism is regenerated by the process of mitosis. Okay, so we end our one word questions over here, and in assertion and reasoning we'll have the meiosis topic, where I will tell you why meiosis is important in sex cells or gamete cells. Okay, so this is a new concept. So I am telling you a little bit about it, why, how assertion and reasoning questions are important. So assertion and reasoning questions
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
instruction for the assertion and reason based questions. So you will be given three, four or five questions. 4 or 5 statements will be given to you in the instruction, and you have to and then the questions will follow. Okay, so the first you have to check out both the statements, the assertion statement as well as the reason statement, and then you have to finally tick one of these options, or you have to write one of these options in the answers. So first, let's see what are the options which will be given to you. The options for option first, or it may be written as A, B, C, D as well. So depending on your question paper, whatever is given. So first statement I have written over here is, if both assertion and reason are true, if both the statements are correct, and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion, and the reason which is also which is given over there is the explanation for that assertion. So if you will mark 1 if you find that both the statements assertion and reason are correct statement, and reason here given over there is explaining the assertion very properly. So you will write 1 over there or A over there. Then you'll have the next statement which says, if both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. तो अगर आपको ऐसा ऑप्शन दिया होगा, ऐसे दो स्टेटमेंट दिए होंगे जो दोनों करेक्ट होंगे, both will be correct statement, but the reason will not be explaining the assertion. Okay, जो reason दिया होगा वो assertion को explain नहीं कर रहा होगा properly. वो अपने आप में एक correct statement होगा, लेकिन assertion को वो सही से explain नहीं कर रहा होगा. So then you will write it as 2 or B, whatever will be given to you option. Then third option is, if assertion is true but reason is false. अगर assertion वाला statement सही होगा और reason वाला statement wrong होगा, तब third. Fourth, अगर if reason is true but assertion is false. अगर आपका reason वाला statement correct है और assertion वाला statement wrong है, तब आप 4 टिक करेंगे. और 5, अगर if both assertion and reason are false. अगर दोनों statement false होंगे, तो आप ये 5 टिक करेंगे. तो first you read the instruction properly, because sometimes they may interchange. आपका A part में क्या लिखा है, B part में क्या लिखा है, उसके accordingly आप questions को mark करेंगे. और ये भी देख लेंगे कि ABCD लिखा हुआ है या फिर 1 2 3 4 लिखा हुआ है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग आपके रेस्ट ऑफ द आंसर्स आप उसके आगे 3-4 आपको स्टेटमेंट्स इसी तरह से दिए होंगे क्वेश्चन में, असर्शन और रीजन दोनों दिया होगा और आपको करेक्ट ऑप्शन टिक करना होगा. सो लेट्स सी, द first is assertion. It says that cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of all living organisms. So this is a correct statement. Reason, anything less than a complete structure of a cell does not ensure independent living, and this is a correct statement, and as well as this is explaining your first statement. Okay, cell is a fundamental structure and functional unit of all living organisms. This is true. Any organism will be called living when it has at least one cell present in it. And anything which is less than the structure, maybe you are given all the components of a cell, but if it is not enclosed within a proper cell membrane, it will not be called as a complete living entity. So here both the statements are also correct and reason is explaining the assertion. So you will mark the answer as first option, that says that both A and R, assertion is A and reason is R. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. Next, we have the first statement, the assertion. In the assertion, it is saying prokaryotic cells are
at orchids.
Prokaryotic cells are primitive and larger than eukaryotic cells. So this statement in itself is wrong. Prokaryotic cells are primitive and larger than, they are primitive, but they are not larger than eukaryotic cells. We know that the prokaryotic cells are very small in size, generally very smaller than eukaryotic cells. Then, so first statement is wrong. We have concluded that assertion is wrong. Let's come to the reasons. First, we'll check the reason. Prokaryotic cells have many membrane-bound cytoplasmic organelles. So, prokaryotic cells do not have membrane bound organelles. Okay, this is a very important point to remember, that prokaryotic cells do not have membrane bound organelles at all. The only organelle which we generally see in the prokaryotic cell is a non-membranous, because it is there in your further slide, so I'm not telling you the name of that organelle, but prokaryotic cell will have a non-membranous bound organelle generally, and no membrane bound organelle are seen in prokaryotic cell. So here both the reason, assertion statement as well as the reason, both statements are wrong. So we will write the option number 5, which says both A and R are false. Both A and statement A and R are false. Okay, okay. So we'll come to the next statement. In the next statement, in the assertion, it says chromosomes can be seen during cell division only. Chromosomes are seen during cell division. So we all know that in the nucleus of a cell, the chromosome thread-like structures are present, which are called as chromosome, and mostly they are not seen in a cell. But when the time of cell division comes, these chromosomes they condense and they take the shape, this thread-like shape they will take during the cell division. And during this time they condense and they can be seen under a microscope, electron microscope. So chromosome can be seen during cell division is a correct statement. Let's see if the reason is what the reason says. So reason says that during cell division chromosome have proteins. So this reason is not correct for this assertion. And during cell division, chromosome condense. That is why we are able to see it during cell division. So the reason is not correct over here. So we will choose the option 3, which says that A is true but R is false, because chromosomes are made up of protein and DNA both all the times. It is not only that during cell division only proteins will come over there. Okay, let's come to the next slide. Next slide, it says, first assertion, nucleus plays a central role in the cellular reproduction. Okay, nucleus plays a central role in cellular reproduction. How? Because it has, it controls the activity of the cell. It gives the instruction to all the parts of the cell. So all the nucleus is also known as the brain of the cell because of this reason, because it controls the activity of the cell, and also the cellular reproduction is controlled by nucleus only. Reason given over here is nucleus has a double layered covering called nuclear membrane. So the statement for the assertion is a correct statement. The statement for the reason also is a correct statement. Nucleus has a double layered covering called nuclear membrane. This is a correct statement, but this is not explaining the this statement. And the reason over here is a correct statement, but it is not explaining the above assertion. So we will mark the option 2, that both assertion and reason statements are true, but R is not explaining the A, that is assertion. R is not a correct explanation for this assertion. Next we have assertion. The statement for assertion is that cell wall is the outermost boundary of all cells. The cell wall is outermost boundary of all cell. Now here we come to know that assertion in itself is a wrong statement. Cell wall is not the outermost boundary in all the cells. It is only seen in the case of few cells like plant cells or bacterial cell. We can see cell wall as outermost boundary. Usually in animal cells, the cell membrane is the outermost boundary. So the first statement in itself is wrong. Then we come to the reason. Let's check if the statement for the reason is wrong or right. Reason says that cell wall is made up of proteins and lipid molecules. So again, over here, cell wall is not made up of protein and lipid. Cell wall in different organisms are made up of different sugar molecules. Like in the case of plants, it is made up of cellulose. In the case of bacteria, it is made up of peptidoglycan. In the case of some other organism, it is made up of chitin. So cell wall is not made up of proteins and lipids. This is the wrong statement. So we will choose the option 5, which says that both A and R are false. Both are wrong statements. Next question is assertion. In the assertion, it says the cell membrane is also called as selectively permeable membrane. So cell membrane or the plasma membrane of the cell is also called as a selectively permeable membrane. This is a correct statement. Then reason given is that cell membrane permits the movement of only certain molecules in and out of the cell. This is also a correct statement, and this is the reason why cell membrane is also called as selectively permeable membrane. It is selective in nature because it allows only the movement of certain molecules in and out of the cell. So both statements are correct, and the reason which is given over here is explaining the assertion clearly. So we will mark the first option, which says that both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. Okay, next question is assertion. In assertion, it says that Golgi body is found in large number in cells which secrete digestive enzyme. So all of you know the function of Golgi bodies is to packaging and storage of the of all the molecules which are produced in the cell. So Golgi bodies actually gives a structure, or they bound them and store them before they are sent out of the cell. So they are found in large number in the cells which secrete digestive enzymes. So here actually most of the proteins which act as enzymes in our body are produced and packed. So Golgi bodies pack these enzymes or proteins in a fashion so that they can be sent properly. So this is a correct statement. The reason is Golgi bodies helps in the digestion of substance. This statement is wrong because it does not help in the digestion of substance, but it only helps in the storage and packaging of those substances, which will help in the digestion further, or which will act as an enzyme further. So the assertion is a correct statement, but reason is not correct. So we will mark the option 3, that assertion is true, but reason is false. Okay, next question. Assertion is that endoplasmic reticulum can be both rough and smooth. So we know that this is true. Endoplasmic reticulum can be both rough and smooth. Then reason given is that endoplasmic reticulum helps in the transport of material. So this statement in itself, it is a correct statement that endoplasmic reticulum helps in the transport of material. This is true, but it is not explaining your first assertion. It is not explaining the statement of assertion. So we will mark the option as 2, which says that both A and R are true. Both the statement are true in themselves, but but R is not explaining A. Okay, R is not the correct explanation for it. Okay, so coming to the next slide, it says that assertion says that unicellular organism can generate spontaneously without cell division. So I told you that no cells can generate spontaneously. Okay, all cell comes from pre-existing cell. As we all know, the cell theory in itself, the third postulate of the cell theory tells us that all cell come from a pre-existing cell. So nothing can, no living cell can generate spontaneously on itself. So this statement is wrong. We have the reason given over here is unicellular. So the statement of assertion is wrong. We already know that. Let's see if the reason and the statement for the reason is correct or not. Unicellular organism can reproduce by asexual method. So yes, this is a true statement. Unicellular organism can reproduce reproduce by asexual method. This statement is true. But as we know that assertion is already wrong, we will choose the option as 4, which says that R is true but A is false. Okay. Next assertion is meiosis is significant for the formation of gamete. Now we come to that portion which I told you. There are two types of cell division. One is mitosis and another is meiosis, and both play a very significant role in the organism. Mitosis results in the formation of two daughter cells which have exactly same number of chromosome as there was in the mother cell. तो डॉटर सेल के पास इक्वल नंबर ऑफ क्रोमोसोम आता है और ये हमारे इन ऑल द ऑर्गेनिज्म इट प्लेज अ रोल फॉर रिपेयर एंड रीजनरेशन एंड ग्रोथ wherever growth is taking place. So mitosis will cell division will take place, same number of chromosomes we need in an organism. The number of chromosome in all the cell is fixed, so that's why mitosis will take place in all the cell. But coming to the gamete formation. So you know when you may have read about reproduction, basic things about reproduction in class 8, in which you have read about fertilization, and during fertilization the male and female gamete fuse to form a new cell which is zygote, and zygote will further form the embryo and develop into a new organism. So during when the fusion of male and female gamete will take place, their nucleus will fuse together. And if their nucleus are having equal number of chromosome which is present in the individual, for example, let's take the example of human beings, and human beings have 46 chromosome in their cell. So if the gamete also contain 46 chromosome in uh, in the form of sperm and ovum, when they will fuse together, the number of chromosome will become how much it will become. If we double 46, it will become 92, and then by mitosis, the zygote will divide by mitosis. So again, same number of chromosome will be there, and the embryo form will have 96 chromosome. But we know that human beings, if human beings are being formed, their cell will have only 46 number of chromosome. So for this process to take place uh, correctly, I will use the word correctly because human beings cannot have 96 chromosome. They need to have a 92 chromosome. They need to have 46 chromosome. So for this, meiosis will take place during the formation of gametes, and meiosis will take place for the formation of gamete in all the organism. I'm not talking only about human beings, but wherever gamete is being formed in whatsoever organism we are talking about, gamete will always form by the process of meiosis. And the significance is that at the end of meiosis, at the end of one cycle of meiosis, 4 new daughter cells are formed, and they will have half number of chromosome as that of the mother cell. Mother cell में जितने chromosome थे उसके half हो जाएंगे. So for example, human beings, their cell was having 46 chromosome. Now the gamete form will have only 23 chromosomes in them, and so when the fertilization takes place, both male and female gamete will have 23 number of chromosome, and when it will fuse together, it will form 46 chromosome in the zygote, and so the progeny will always have this number of chromosome. Otherwise, it will get disturbed. So this is the significance of meiosis. So reason given, let's see the reason what is given over here. Meiosis is necessary to reduce the chromosome to half because the number of chromosome doubles after fertilization. And this is what I was explaining you. So both the statement are correct and reason is explaining assertion clearly. So we will choose option number 1, which says that both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. Okay, so I hope mitosis and meiosis is clear to you. Uh, for 1 mark question, it will be like this. You may be asked to write the difference between mitosis and meiosis in long questions. So I hope I think I have made it clear to you, so you can attempt that question as well. Let's come to fill in the blanks. This will be easier for you. In 1940, the term protoplasm was coined by the scientist who gave for the living part of cell, including the nucleus. So there was a scientist who gave the term protoplasm. So we know the three important part in a living cell is nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. So for that, cytoplasm and cell membrane together, a term was coined by this scientist. Okay, and this was called as protoplasm. So this new term was used for cytoplasm, cell membrane, including cytoplasm. So this was called as protoplasm, and this name was given by Purkinje. You can write only Purkinje as well, but the full name is Johannes Purkinje. He gave this term protoplasm, which was denoted for the living part of the cell, including the nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. Then we have next question: the undefined nuclear region in dash is also known as nucleoid. So if you have read the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, you will know that prokaryotic cell do not have a well-defined nuclear region, which is called as nucleoid. So answer over here will be prokaryote. Eukaryote will have a very distinct region where the nucleus can be seen, because chromosomes are enclosed in a membrane which is known as nuclear membrane, which separates the nuclear material from the cytoplasmic material. So the region becomes very clear in the case of eukaryote. In the case of prokaryote, it is not very clear. So the answer is prokaryote over here. The next slide. The nuclear membrane has an opening known as dash, which allow the transfer of material from inside to outside. This is in the case of eukaryotic. In the eukaryotic cell, nucleus is enclosed, that is nuclear material is enclosed within a membrane. This membrane is known as nuclear membrane. So this membrane will have some openings. At some places it will be open so that there can be exchange of information between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. And these ports are known as nuclear ports. Okay, which will allow the transfer of materials from inside to outside. Next is the cell wall in plant is composed of. Now I've given you this answer previously. I hope all of you remember. In case of plant, it is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a polymer which gives a very rigid structure to the cell wall, and that's how it helps in protection, because it is very rigid. It is form of many long chain. It is a polymer. That means polymers are long chains. This is a long chain of many sugars, which gives it a very rigid structure. And this is a protective structure in the case of plant. Plant's cell needs to be protected because they are always present in a medium which may be hypertonic or hypotonic. So then we have next question: the movement of water molecules through a selectively. Now you have to give the name of the term which we define cell membrane as. Cell membrane is also defined as selectively permeable membrane. Permeable means which will permeability means some things could be allowed and some things could not be allowed. So छन्नी की तरह काम करता है, छान के भेजता है. It will allow some things to enter and some things will not be allowed to enter. So this movement is known as osmosis. So definition of osmosis is also clear by this. I hope it is clear by this statement that the movement of water molecule through a selectively permeable membrane is known as osmosis. In the case of, see, there is a difference between diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion will take place without any membrane. And when there is a permeable membrane present between the two regions of high concentration and low concentration, then the term given is osmosis. In the case of water molecule, especially, it is termed as osmosis. So water will move from its high concentration towards the lower concentration, but there will be a semi-permeable membrane or selectively permeable membrane present between these two liquids. Then it will be called as osmosis. Next we come to medium, isotonic. I hope you have read about hypertonic, isotonic and hypotonic medium. So isotonic medium is one in which has dash water concentration as the cell. So isotonic means, iso means only same. Okay, when the term iso is used, it is used for same. It is a synonym, you can say, to the term same. So when isotonic medium is there, that means the concentration outside the cell and inside the cell is same. Okay. Hypertonic is used when the concentration of water, we are talking about water, okay? Hypertonic solution when the concentration of water inside the cell is more and outside is less. It is called as hypertonic solution. And when we are talking about hypotonic solution, that means the concentration of water outside is more than the cell. If the cell is kept in a hypotonic medium, hypertonic medium, and isotonic medium, we will have different type of movement. That is discussed in your book. That is a long question, so we are not discussing it over here. Next, we have mitochondria stores energy in the form of dash, which is also known as the energy currency of the cell. So I hope all of you know this answer. This is a very easy answer. Mitochondria stores energy in the form of ATP, which is also called as adenosine triphosphate. Expansion is adenosine triphosphate. In short, we can say it as ATP. So this question may be asked to you in this way also. Expand ATP. Expand ATP means you have to write the full form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. This is also known as the energy currency of the cell. It is in this form that energy is stored in your cell, and whenever you need energy, this ATP molecule will break down. Triphosphate, there are 3 phosphate bonds which break down and give you energy. Next we have the dash are also known as a suicide bag of the cell, as they can sometimes digest their own cell. So this organelle performs a function of digesting the foreign material. It has some enzymes which can digest any foreign material which can enter into the cell. But sometimes what happens, if it gets a feedback that the cell is not functioning properly, it can burst open and the whole cell can be digested in itself. So they are. It is like a suicide. So they are known as suicide bag of the cells. So these are lysosomes. Lysosomes are also known as suicide bags. Their main function is to digest any foreign material which is coming into the cell. But sometimes it happens that it gets a feedback that the cell is not functioning properly, and so then they digest the whole cell as well. Next, you have plant cells have large dash which maintains the turgidity of the cell and also store many important substance in it. So you all know this is it is one point of difference between plant cell and animal cell, that plant cells usually have very large vacuole, and in this vacuole cell sap is stored. Cell sap is the liquid which is present inside the vacuole, and this provides turgidity to the cell. Also, it is the cell sap contains all the important substance dissolved in it. Okay, so answer is vacuole. Next, we have the type of cell division responsible for the formation of male and female gamete. Now, I have told you that this answer is meiotic division. We will call it as meiosis division. Okay, mitosis and meiosis significance. I hope it is clear to you. Next, we come to the last topic, that is true and false. You will be given some statement and you have to tell whether they are true or false. So the shape and size of cell are related to the size of animal. This is false. The shape and size of cell are not related to the size of animal, but they are related to the function which the particular cell is performing in the organism. So shape and size depends on the function of the cell, not related to the size of animal. Genes are the functional unit of heredity and located on chromosome in the nucleus. Yes, we know that chromosome पे जो functional parts होते हैं वो genes होते हैं and they are inherited by during. That is why nucleus is also the control center for the division. Okay, cell division, because genes are stored on chromosomes and they are the functional unit of heredity. That is how the information from the parents are transferred to their offspring through genes. So they are also called as the functional unit of heredity and they are located in the nucleus, and that is why the nucleus is the control center for cellular reproduction. Plasma membrane is non-living and freely permeable rigid structure bounding the plant cell. This is not true because plasma membrane is living, as we have discussed in one of the slides, that plasma membrane is included in the living part of the cell, which I told you is called as, altogether all these parts are called as protoplasm. So plasma membrane is the living part. It is not freely permeable also. It is selectively permeable. So this is a false statement. Plasma membrane is living and semi-permeable. And plasma membrane is found in all the cells, not only plant cell but animal cell and as well as any cell. Plasma membrane is an important structure. Next, we have mitochondria and plastids have their own DNA, hence they are able to make their own structural proteins. So this is one of the important questions. It may be asked to you in one word or multiple choice. Any other organelle which contains DNA, apart from nucleus, any other organelles which contain their own DNA. Okay, apart from nucleus, there are two other cell organelles, mitochondria in all the cells and plastids, especially in the case of plant cells. You can see that they have their own DNA as well as ribosomes also, so they can make their own structural proteins. This statement is true, and here you can also prepare for this question in the one word form also. So as I have told you earlier also, all these questions can be interchanged, a true false statement. If it is a true statement, you remember the statement properly, it will may be asked to you in one word. So mitochondria and plastids are the two organelles which have their own DNA apart from the nucleus. Nucleus will always have DNA. Then we have Golgi apparatus is involved with the formation of lysosome and the digestive enzymes in them. So we know that Golgi apparatus is involved in the formation of lysosome. Okay, structural उसका storage करना और packaging करना Golgi apparatus का काम है. All the enzymatic और प्रोटीन जो होते हैं वो Golgi apparatus के पास आते हैं और वो उनकी पैकेजिंग करके बाहर भेजता है सेल. तो लाइसोसोम पैकेजिंग होती है गोल्जी एपरेटस में और उसके डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम्स भी वही बनते हैं. तो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू. Then next is ribosomes are the membranous cell organelle present only in the cell of prokaryote. Now here we come to this the question which I was telling you, that sometimes you may be asked that only organelle which can be seen in the case of prokaryote is ribosomes. Ribosome is an organelle which is not membrane bounded. It is a non-membranous organelle. So rest of your organelles are membrane bounded. And ribosome is seen in all the active cells, the cells which are living and they are actively working. because ribosomes are the site for protein synthesis and proteins are important for all the functional activity of a cell. So ribosomes can be seen in all the active cell, whether they are prokaryote or eukaryote. So this is one organelle which you will see even in the case of prokaryote. Prokaryote usually do not have membrane bound organelles, and the other there are some poorly developed structure which will perform the functions of the cell organelles which are seen in the eukaryotes. So this statement is false. They are not, ribosomes are not membrane bound, and they are not only seen in the case of prokaryote but also they can be seen in the case of eukaryote. So this statement is false. Ribosomes are non-membranous and they can be seen in all the active cells. Then we have next is the centrosome is the main microtubule organizing center in the plant. तो centrosome जो है हमें difference आपको पता है plant cell और animal cell में, and one of the difference is that plant cells they lack centrosome. Centrosome is a structure which helps during cell division. It helps in the formation of spindle fibers जिसपे क्रोमोसोम अटैच होके दोनों साइड में जाते हैं. तो ये स्ट्रक्चर प्लांट सेल में एब्सेंट होता है. इट इज ओनली प्रेजेंट इन द केस ऑफ एनिमल सेल. So this statement is false. Next we have at the end of one complete meiotic division, meiosis, 4 new daughter cells are formed. So this is the correct statement. Meiosis take part in during meiosis there are two parts. In the first division, two cells are formed, and then again from those two cells again one division takes place, and then 4 new cells will be formed. So meiosis, at the end of one complete cycle of meiosis, you will have 4 new daughter cells, and these daughter cells also are haploid. That haploid means they will have half number of chromosomes than that there was in the case of mother cell. जिस सेल से डिवाइड हो रहे होते हैं उनको हम मदर सेल कहते हैं, और जो न्यू फॉर्म सेल्स होते हैं उनको हम डॉटर सेल्स कहते हैं. तो 4 नई डॉटर सेल बनती है मियोसिस के एंड में, और वो सारी हैप्लॉइड होती है. हैप्लॉइड का मतलब होता है कि क्रोमोसोम का जो नंबर था वो अब हाफ हो चुका है. मदर सेल में जितने क्रोमोसोम थे उससे हाफ क्रोमोसोम प्रेजेंट है इसमें. So this is a true statement. Meiosis results in the formation of 4 new dots. Then mitotic division results in the formation of 2 haploid daughter cells. Now here I told you mitotic division results in formation of 2 daughter cells. That thing here it 2 daughter cell is correct, but haploid, this is haploid means that is number of chromosome is reduced to half. That is not true. So this statement is false, that mitotic division results in the formation of 2 diploid daughter cells. Same number of chromosomes as the number of chromosome was there in the mother cell, same number of chromosome will be there. So they will be called as diploid daughter cells. Here the statement is false. Then we have the last question. Virus lack any membrane and hence they do not show the characteristics of life until they enter a living body and use their machinery to multiply. So this is a correct statement, and that is why it is said. I wanted to tell you this question because cell. That is why cell is called as the structural and functional unit of life, and all the important part of cell should be present. That is, the cell should have nucleus, cytoplasm, as well as a membrane which bounds the structure into a single unit. But because virus lack the membrane, therefore they are not considered as a living entity on their own, but they have this nucleic acid, which may be sometimes it may be DNA or sometimes it may be RNA, depending. And this machinery can be used when they enter a living cell, and then they are able to divide themselves. So outside their host, the virus are considered as non-living because they lack the membrane. Okay, so this is a true statement. Virus lack any membrane and hence they do not show the characteristics of life until they enter a living body. Okay, so with this we come to the end of our 1 mark question. I hope I have cleared your general concept about this chapter, and I mostly have included statements which may help you to revise all the chapter at once. You may know the general function of all the organelles and the structure of cells. I hope it was an enjoyable session for all of you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us a valuable time for this presentation. और मैं व्यूवर्स को भी बता दूं कि यहाँ पे जो भी इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे जो भी हमारे साथ एक्सपर्ट्स जुड़ते हैं बहुत तैयारी के साथ आते हैं और आपके लिए प्रेजेंटेशन बनाते हैं प्रेजेंटेशन को और जो यहाँ पे एक प्रेजेंटेशन प्रेजेंट करते हैं उसके लिए बहुत उसके पीछे उनको काम करना पड़ता है टाइम देना पड़ता है तो और बस ये आपके लिए है आप घर पे बैठे हो इस पैंडेमिक पीरियड में आप स्कूल नहीं जा सकते हो तो ये बस आपके वेलफेयर के लिए है आप इसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा देखिए एग्जाम्स में आपके बहुत यूज़फुल होने वाले हैं ये सारे प्रेजेंटेशन अगर आप प्ले लिस्ट में जाके देखते हैं तो आपके सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड आपके चैप्टर से रिलेटेड आपको बहुत सारे वहाँ पे सेशंस मिल जाएंगे जिनको आप एग्जाम से पहले देख सकते हैं और आपके जो 1 मार्क्स के क्वेश्चन है वो बहुत क्लियर हो जाते हैं यहाँ पे और प्रेजेंटेशन के थ्रू एक्सप्लेनेशन के थ्रू क्योंकि हम अगर ट्रू फॉल्स भी करते हैं तो क्यों ट्रू है क्यों फॉल्स है तो जो भी एक्सपर्ट्स हमारे साथ जुड़ते हैं वो बहुत ही उनका फुल एक्सप्लेनेशन होता है हर एक क्वेश्चन के पीछे तो आई थिंक कि आपको ये आज का सेशन बहुत यूज़फुल होगा आप लोग के लिए और मैं कमेंट बॉक्स में एक फीडबैक फॉर्म आप सबके लिए डाल रही हूँ तो आप उसको अगर फिल कर देंगे पीपीटी से ही रिलेटेड उसमें क्वेश्चंस हैं अगर आप उसमें 40% मार्क्स क्वालिफाई करते हो देन श्योर आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट भी आपकी मेल आईडी करेक्ट डालिएगा जो भी न्यू व्यूवर्स हैं उनको मैं ये बोलना चाहती हूँ कि आप चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए जिससे कि आपको जो भी अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स होंगे वो आपको अपडेट्स उसके मिलते रहेंगे तो थैंक यू सो मच मैंने पीपीटी पेस्ट कर दिया है लाइव कमेंट बॉक्स में जो भी बच्चे देख रहे हैं उसको फिल कर दीजिए जिससे कि आपको सर्टिफिकेट भी इशू हो जाए और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लिंक को शेयर कर दीजिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए जिससे कि आपको अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स मिलते रहें 23 को फिर से क्लास 9th का सेशन होने वाला है मैम लेने वाली हैं आपका साइंस का ही क्लास होने वाला है प्रेजेंटेशन होने वाला है तो आप बने रहिए इस चैनल पे और थैंक यू सो मच for giving us a valuable time.